What drives a man to commit heinous acts of violence not once but repeatedly? This question has baffled psychologists, criminologists, and the public alike for decades. Today we delve into the dark corners of one such mind, the mind of Theodore Robert Bundy, known to the world as Ted Bundy. Bundy's name is infamous, etched into the annals of American crime history. His chilling story is one of charm and depravity, a deadly combination that allowed him to commit horrific crimes with impunity. He was not just a murderer, he was a master manipulator, a charmer who used his charisma to lure unsuspecting victims into his deadly trap. His crimes spanned several states, leaving a trail of devastation that is still felt to this day. This is the unsettling enigma we will explore today, the life and crimes of Ted Bundy. To understand Bundy, we must start at the beginning. Born Theodore Robert Cowell on November 24, 1946 in Burlington, Vermont, Bundy's early life was marked with confusion and deception. Raised by his grandparents, he was led to believe that his mother was his older sister, a lie that was only revealed to him in his late teens. As a child, Bundy showed signs of the charm and intelligence that would later become his deadly tools. He was known to be well-spoken and bright, with a particular interest in politics. However, beneath this veneer of normality, there were early signs of the darkness that was to come. One such sign was his fascination with knives, a fascination that started at an alarmingly young age. Bundy's school years were a mix of academic success and social awkwardness. His peers recalled him as a loner, someone who preferred his own company over others. There were also instances of petty theft, an early indication of Bundy's disregard for others' rights and belongings. His teenage years were marked by a growing sense of resentment and anger. Bundy became more isolated and began to show signs of violent tendencies. He reportedly began peeping into women's windows, an invasion of privacy that hinted at his future crimes. Despite these early indicators, Bundy managed to maintain an outward appearance of normality. He was an active participant in his local Methodist church and even served as its vice president. Bundy's ability to blend into society became one of his most dangerous traits, a characteristic that allowed him to hide in plain sight. His college years were marked by a series of tumultuous relationships, each one leaving him more bitter and resentful. It was during this period that Bundy began to develop his manipulative tactics, learning how to use his charm and intelligence to control and exploit others. Even at this young age, there were subtle signs of the horror yet to come. As we delve deeper into the life of Ted Bundy, we will see how these formative years set the stage for one of the most notorious crime sprees in American history. Bundy was known for his charm and good looks, a disguise he used to deadly effect. Picture the quintessential boy next door, the kind who could easily blend into any crowd, and you've got a rough sketch of Theodore Bundy. His charm was not just superficial, it was a calculated, manipulative tool that he wielded with proficiency. Supremely confident, Bundy had an uncanny ability to win people's trust. He used this to his advantage, luring unsuspecting young women into his web of deceit. Sometimes he would feign injury, hobbling on crutches or wearing a fake cast to elicit sympathy and assistance. Other times he would impersonate authority figures, like a police officer or firefighter, to exploit people's inherent trust in these roles. But Bundy's charm wasn't just a tool for luring his victims, it was also a shield, helping him evade suspicion. He was the embodiment of the saying, "The best place to hide is in plain sight." Bundy often struck in broad daylight in public places, confident that his charm and good looks would deter any suspicion. Once he had his victims within his grasp, Bundy would quickly subdue them, often with a crowbar or similar object. Then, he would transport them to a secondary location, where the true horror would begin. His methodology was cold, calculated, and disturbingly efficient. Bundy's ability to manipulate his image played a significant role in his ability to evade capture for so long. He was a master of disguise and deception, often changing his appearance or altering his car to avoid detection. He was always one step ahead of the authorities, leaving a chilling trail of devastation in his wake. Despite his charm and good looks, Bundy was a predator, a wolf in sheep's clothing. His charm mastered dark, dangerous reality, a reality that would ultimately lead to unspeakable horrors. He was a master manipulator, using his charisma not to build relationships but to destroy lives. His charm was a deadly weapon, as lethal as the instruments he used to carry out his crimes. In the end, Bundy's charm was as much a part of his modus operandi as his physical methods of murder. It was a key element of his predatory behavior, a chilling reminder that monsters often wear the most convincing disguises. Behind every crime, there lies a victim. In the case of Ted Bundy, there were far too many. Over the course of 4 years, Bundy admitted to taking the lives of 30 women, though experts speculate the real number could be much higher. These women came from all walks of life, each with their own stories, dreams, and futures, tragically cut short. Among his victims was Linda Ann Healy, a law student from the University of Washington. Known for her bright smile and kind heart, Linda was the first known victim of Bundy's heinous crimes. Her disappearance on a cold January night in 1974 sent shockwaves through the community, marking the start of a grim series of events. Another victim, Donna Gail Manson, was a music student from Evergreen State College. Known for her free spirit and love of music, Donna vanished while on her way to a jazz concert. Her disappearance left a void in the hearts of those who loved her and a haunting melody that would never be finished. Bundy's victims also included Susan Elaine Rancourt, a Central Washington State College student with dreams of becoming a marine biologist. Her sudden disappearance after an evening meeting left her friends and family bewildered and heartbroken. Kimberly Diane Leach, a junior high school student, was Bundy's youngest known victim. She was taken from her school in broad daylight, a chilling reminder of Bundy's audacity and ruthlessness. These were not faceless victims. They were vibrant young women with lives full of promise, stolen away by a man whose charm masked a monstrous reality. Each of them left behind families and friends grappling with unimaginable grief, their worlds forever altered by Bundy's unspeakable acts. As we discuss these victims, let us remember them not for their tragic ends, but for the lives they lived. Linda, the aspiring lawyer; Donna, the music lover; Susan, the future marine biologist; Kimberly, the schoolgirl with her whole life ahead of her. These women were not just victims, but daughters, sisters, and friends, their lives tragically cut short. Despite his cunning, Bundy could not evade justice forever. The year was 1975, and Bundy's reign of terror had been plaguing the Pacific Northwest for far too long. The authorities had been working tirelessly, piecing together a jigsaw puzzle of unsolved disappearances and unspeakable crimes, and they were finally closing in. Detectives had started to connect the dots, from the uncanny similarities between the victims to the recurring description of a charismatic man with a cast on his arm. But it was the discovery of a Volkswagen Bug at a crime scene that provided the much-needed break in the case. Bundy, known for his charm and deceptive tactics, had been using this very car to lure his unsuspecting victims. The net was tightening around Bundy. The police pulled over a suspicious vehicle one night, and who should they find behind the wheel but Bundy himself? Inside the car, they discovered a horrifying toolkit for abduction and murder: a crowbar, handcuffs, rope, and an ice pick. With this damning evidence in hand, Bundy was arrested and brought into custody. But the case was far from closed. Bundy, ever the manipulator, managed to escape from prison not once, but twice. Each escape led to more violence, more victims, and a growing sense of public dread. Yet, each escape also underscored the urgency of the investigation, fueling the efforts of law enforcement to bring this monster to justice. It was a meticulous process, relying on forensic evidence, eyewitness accounts, and the pioneering use of dental records. Bundy's teeth, uniquely misaligned, matched the bite marks found on several victims. This evidence, combined with the testimony of a brave survivor, sealed Bundy's fate. In the end, Bundy's reign of terror was brought to an end by the relentless pursuit of justice. His capture was a testament to the tireless work of investigators and the courage of those who survived his attacks. It was a chilling reminder that even the most charming facade can hide a monstrous reality, and a solemn promise that no matter how long it takes, justice will always prevail. In the courtroom, Bundy's charm and manipulation tactics were put to the ultimate test. The trials of Ted Bundy were a spectacle unlike any other. Bundy, ever confident and audacious, made the unprecedented decision to represent himself in court. This move was as bold as it was risky. The courtroom was transformed into a stage where Bundy could perform, using his charm and intellect to sway the jury and the public. He was a law school dropout, but Bundy had an uncanny grasp of legal principles and procedures. His self-representation was seen as a high-stakes gamble. But Bundy, who was always one to challenge the odds, appeared to relish the opportunity to be both defendant and defense attorney. This was a man who thrived in the spotlight, who reveled in the attention, and who believed he could outsmart everyone in the room. As the trials progressed, Bundy's legal acumen was put on display. He cross-examined witnesses, objected to the prosecution's evidence, and argued motions. Yet, for all his apparent legal prowess, Bundy was up against a mountain of evidence. The prosecution had physical evidence, eyewitness testimonies, and most damning of all, bite mark analysis, a relatively new forensic technique at the time that linked Bundy to the crimes. There were moments of theatrics, outbursts, and even a marriage proposal in court. But beneath the spectacle, the gravity of Bundy's crimes loomed large. The families of the victims watched as Bundy, with his signature charm, tried to downplay his horrific actions. Despite his attempts at manipulation, the courtroom was not seduced by Bundy's charm. The evidence was too overwhelming, the crimes too heinous. As the gavel fell, the verdicts were read out loud. Guilty. Bundy's audacious gamble had failed. The man who thought he could outsmart the law was sentenced to death. Despite his efforts, Bundy could not charm his way out of the hard evidence against him. The trials of Ted Bundy serve as a chilling reminder of a man who was a master manipulator, but ultimately he could not escape justice. What goes on in the mind of a man like Bundy? As we delve into the psyche of Ted Bundy, we are met with a chilling portrait of a man whose motivations remain as confounding as they are terrifying. Driven by a toxic mix of narcissism and sadism, Bundy was not just a killer, he was an architect of fear, crafting narratives that left a lasting imprint on his victims and the world at large. Psychologists often point to Bundy's deep-seated sense of entitlement, a trait that allowed him to justify his heinous actions. He viewed the world through a distorted lens, one that placed him at the center and reduced those around him to mere objects, disposable pawns in his twisted game. His confessions, at once chilling and revealing, offer a glimpse into this warped mentality. Bundy spoke of his victims with a detached curiosity, as though they were subjects in an experiment. He reveled in the power he wielded, the control he exerted. It was not just about the act of killing, but the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of outsmarting his pursuers. Yet, beneath this veneer of confidence and control, psychologists note an undercurrent of insecurity. Bundy's charm and charisma, they suggest, were tools to mask a deep-seated fear of rejection and inadequacy. His crimes in many ways were a desperate attempt to assert dominance, to prove his worth in the most depraved way possible. Some experts also suggest that Bundy's insatiable bloodlust stemmed from an addiction, a compulsion he couldn't resist. Like a drug, the thrill of the kill offered a temporary reprieve from the torment of his own mind. But the high was fleeting, and with each passing act, the urge to kill grew stronger. Yet even with these insights, the mind of Ted Bundy remains a dark and twisted mystery. A labyrinth of contradictions and unanswered questions, it serves as a chilling reminder of the depths to which the human mind can sink when consumed by malevolence and madness. Bundy's crimes have left a lasting impact, not just on his victims, but on society as a whole. Ted Bundy's legacy is a complex and haunting one. His crimes, his manipulative charm, and his ability to evade law enforcement for so long have made him a figure of enduring fascination. Yet this fascination is not without its consequences. Bundy's legacy has shaped the way we understand and approach the phenomenon of serial murder. The Bundy case has had a significant influence on criminal profiling. His ability to blend into society, his charm, and his intelligence challenged the stereotype of the isolated, socially awkward serial killer. This led to a shift in criminal profiling, recognizing that killers could be anyone, even the seemingly normal guy next door. Public perceptions of serial killers have also been shaped by Bundy. His case highlighted the chilling reality that serial killers are not always easily identifiable monsters. They can be charming, intelligent, and seemingly normal individuals, capable of unspeakable acts. This realization has led to a heightened awareness and vigilance within society. In the world of true crime, Bundy is a grim icon. His story has been told and retold in countless books, documentaries, films, and podcasts. His case has become a staple of the genre, and his image is often used to represent the archetype of the serial killer. While this can raise ethical questions about the sensationalism of his crimes, it also reflects our society's attempt to understand and come to terms with such extreme forms of human behavior. However, while discussing Bundy's legacy, it's crucial to remember the real cost of his actions. the lives of the innocent women he brutally took away. Their memory is a part of his legacy too, a painful reminder of the destruction one person's actions can cause. Bundy's life and crimes serve as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. And so, as we delve into the unsettling world of Ted Bundy, we must never forget the victims and the irrevocable impact his monstrous acts had on their lives, their families, and our society.